Hey YouTube, how you going? Welcome to another video. In this video, we're shifting our focus back to the front end to create the ability to edit folder names, colors, and delete the folders, as well as the ability to edit tag names, tag colors, and delete the tags. In my very previous video, if you watch it, I did say we needed to build the back-end logic for deleting existing sources and notes. I'd forgotten, we'd already created that functionality. Kind of one of the joys of using AI. Sometimes you do forget a few of the things you've created, and also I had forgot to save that route in Postman. So that's why I forgot about that. So if you've watched my previous videos for backend code, I've got a pre-written kind of prompt that I like to cut and paste and use to get running. I'm still learning with front-end development in terms of how to best use AI. So I don't have a pre-written prompt that I reuse, but I have written this prompt to get us started. So just telling, hey, all the files I reference are in your project knowledge. What we actually want to do is we want to change this settings from being a modal to its own individual page. And then to do that, they'll have to go into our router.jsx file to define the route. And then on this settings page, what we want is 3 menu items in the sidebar. So ideally, we replace this. And there'll be source type, folders, and tags. Clicking on source type will then render this form that's currently here for editing a source type. And then if you click on folders for now, just create a component that just has a heading, and same thing for tags. Once we've got this up and running, we'll then give Claude some more prompts with some more detail on how to call that functionality, because we will need to create some new hooks and also use TANStack query to make that request to our API endpoint and invalidate requests when we do update things so that the data on the front end refreshes. Anyway, for now, let's do this. As I said, trial and error, still learning how best to work with Claude on the front end. Pretty comfortable with how best to prompt it on the back end, as you would have seen if you've watched a couple of my recent videos. This though should be fairly self-explanatory so far. It's not a crazy requirement. Alright, so this is going to be in features settings page. We don't have an existing and then we're just going to have these two placeholder ones. So edit folders form. And edit tags form. Alright, and then in our router, I'm going to pull this over here so I can compare, because it's been a while since we've updated this file. I just want to make sure that it's not doing anything too crazy or doing things that it shouldn't be doing. So I'm going to bring in our settings page. That makes sense. Blah. Okay, cool. It's not. It did create it correctly, so we just do that, and then in here we need to go settings, route, save that, and then if we it has forgotten one thing. When you click on, there's this bug where it renders behind. But even here, we need to update that button, so it hasn't done that. Thanks, but we also need to update the existing settings button in the current sidebar to go to our new settings page. I think it has. I didn't check if I gave it that sidebar component. Oh, yes. Okay, cool. So yeah, we just need this. So this is in filter sidebar. Which is going to be in components. Bring that in. Do this. So yeah. Then tags, this button here. don't need this settings overlay anymore. Refresh. Okay, cool. So we've got source types, folders, tags. Okay, looks a little bit too crazy big, but that'll do for now. Alright, so now what we need to do is work on the next part, thanks that works. Let me just pull the code over here. We're going to work on the ability to edit the folder name and color and delete it. So I'm going to say great, that works. Now on the edit form folder form folders form. We call it edit folder or form folders. Edit folders form. Right, we need to render all of the existing folders. So currently in endpoints, endpoints.js, we have a get all endpoint to fetch all of the folder details. We then need to render the current folder name in an input field. Let's just double check its folder name. So if I go back into our backend models folder, yeah, folder name, and folder input field for folder order. We should use this to list the folder names in their current order with a drag and drop function that allows the folders to be reordered based on the updated order on the front end. We then pass in the value, i.e. 2 would mean second order to the backend to update this field. It's quite some complexity here because we've got drag and drop, so I'm kind of interested to see how it handles it for folder color. We should show a small square with the current color. Clicking on the square allows the user to update the hex color for that folder. Finally, to the right should be a trash can icon, which if clicked brings up a modal asking the user to confirm if they want to delete the folder. So to achieve this, you will need to create new hooks for use delete folder and use update folder. Give it the API endpoints. That's wrong. This should be edit folder. Save. The API endpoint for editing folder is a patch request to folder ID. The API endpoint for endpoint deleting a folder is a delete request to get rid of that because that's variable. Folder ID. Before deleting a folder, we should show a warning asking the user to confirm they want to delete the folder. what else? As we are using can stack query, after updating or deleting a folder, invalidate the query so that the front end updates with the new data. Please let me know if you have any questions. If not, proceed with writing all of the code. Alright, so quite a lot to consider there. Not going to hold my breath that it gets it in one go, but we'll soon find out. So we got our two hooks. We add this to our existing endpoints. We then update our edit folder form. And then create a sortable folder component using drag and drop. I haven't used this before, but I've heard of it. And then we need to install these requirements. Okay, so we will pull our code back over here. Pull this back here. And give this a crack. So we need to go to our front end. We need to go into hooks. Sorry, source. Hooks. And we will create use update folder.js and use delete folder. Okay, and then in our API endpoints, here's our folders. We need to add those two. Then edit folder form. Just going to replace that whole component with that. And then sortable folder. And then install. So cd knowledge bank front end. All right, so let's see. So edit folder form, there's an import error. It's looking for, so it's up 1, up 2. Don't know why. Use. Failed to import. Just check one thing. So notes, create node modal. Yeah, we do import it that way. Okay, so we just try get rid of that. Import. Use delete folder. Try it that way. Nope. I'll use folders. Hang on. Where's? So hang on. It wasn't that one that was the issue. It's this use folders, which might be somewhere else. Yeah, use folders. So it's up 1 in folders. Okay. Use effect is not defined. Alrighty, here's our folder. We've only got one, and currently we don't have any way of getting back to our dashboard. So let's go dashboard. And we also don't have any way of creating a folder without creating a node. So we'll call this new node 20. We'll call this marketing. Next. Alright. And then new note, we'll call this new note 21. Create folder, we'll call this sales, marketing, HR. Let's just do one more. New note. Do, and we'll call it. Oops, back. We'll call this like finance. Next, create. We need to invalidate it here, so these folder names update. We can do that later. Settings, folders. Okay, now we've got all of our folders. So finance, let's bring that to the top. Let's just hit refresh. Finance stays at the top. Great. Let's go to dashboard. Finance is up the top. How good's that? Right, so let's try the hex colors. So I wonder if it. Okay, yeah, that's not working because there's no save button. Oh, hang on. Refresh. Folders. Dash. Oh, it did update it. Okay, settings, folders. Let's call this finance updated. Why won't it? Okay, it won't. Okay. It's not letting me type properly. Let's go to dashboard. Okay, did update it. And then let's go, let's delete HR. Delete. Dash. Okay, delete it. So what I think we need to do is a couple of things. So pull this over here so I can kind of reference it. Great. That works pretty well. A couple of things. When you update the name of the folder, it doesn't allow you to create a name with a space. I say I want to create a folder name called cool stuff. It will only let me create cool stuff. Just looking at this color. Okay, also when selecting the color there is a bit of a delay. If you select a color and then click off too soon, the color doesn't save. I don't really know how to. How do you think? Finally, I'm trying to think, like when you update the name, there's like no button that says save. And I know it's saving automatically. I don't know. Let's see how that goes. I hate it how it does it. It's so annoying. I always prefer just getting all of the code. Sometimes does make it a little bit difficult to know where and when things stop, but it does look like, at least in this particular instance, that we are doing everything down to the first button in our main return statement. So return, yeah, see, this is where it, so in the new updated component there is no D&D context. So annoying. So let's do, there's no component, so handle use effect. So it is replacing this. I think alright, my interpretation is that it wants to keep that part of the component. It's not very explicitly clear, so we're going to replace all of this, save, and then we're going to go into sortable folder, and here we're going to replace down to handle. So before the return, replace all of this, and then in the return, yeah, okay, that's really annoying. Return I've also noticed an issue that we're going to run into on our back end. Okay, so copy. What doesn't it like? What? That's not the component. Copy. Save. Okay. Use folders is not defined. We don't have a U, so it wants to do a batch update. So update all of the folders in one go, which we don't currently support. It should be able to get, yeah, it should be able to get use folders. Sorry, to start with, import. But it's not going to be able to do the update. Use update folder. Where is it calling? Ah, this is broken too. Oh my god. Okay, we're going back. What I'm telling it is we'll still have the reordering function and the color function without needing to show a save button, but in return, if we edit the folder name, we'll render a save button next to each name, because we don't have a batch update API endpoint, and I know we could create it, but I think obviously it's overkill just for like what's meant to be an MVP. So we're just gonna revert back to that. We've still got that debounce functionality that it's adding in, so that it should hopefully be a little bit smoother for the color. And we've also added in a save button for the form itself when the name is changed. So I think that should make it a little bit more user friendly, but we'll soon find out. Alright, so use folders is not defined, and that's going to be because use folder. So this is going to be in folders. Folders. Alright, so let's try this. So updated, awesome. So we got this little save button here. Save. Test. Save. Alright, and then let's just go to dash. So update, updates, cool. Folders, let's get rid of that E, save. Alright, let's test this color. So if we go blue, okay, it updated pretty quickly. Let's go purple. Let's try and do this super quick. That didn't work. Oh, did it? Hang on, let's try. Yeah, see, there's a bit of a lag. So if we go that color, it does change it, but yeah, if you're super quick, yeah, it takes a while. Whereas if you're a little bit more methodical, you probably wouldn't notice. And then let's just test the delete functionality still works. So dash. Cool. Alright, so that's all of the folders. Now if we go just look here for a sec. So now back end folders. We don't have the ability to create a folder directly, but that's fine. Just thinking in terms of prompting Claude, what's the best way of doing this? So I think the best way is to say great. That works. Now we need to do something similar for our tags. So we don't need to support drag and drop reordering. So this is going to be quite straightforward, I think. Basically, so this should work. What I'm finding a little bit, I think, although you don't, although you have to write each prompt a little bit differently, because everything is quite different on the front end in terms of like what you're doing. Like, there's, I guess, less commonality maybe. I mean, Claude's handling it pretty well. Obviously, at the moment, it's fairly simplistic functionality, but I'm not running into any major issues. The one before was really quite minor, and then also brought on by me. Not really thinking about having a batch update API endpoint. But here we've got our edit tags form. We've got our tag item. It's interesting that it's rendering each tag individually. I guess in our folder one, it was doing that in the, I mean, to be honest, we didn't look at it. It was the sortable folder component that was bringing in that. We've got our hook, and we've got our update hook, and we've got our endpoint. Alright, so I'm going to pull this back over here, pull this back over here, make this bigger, and we will go first of all with our endpoint. So tags, we need to add these two. Save that. Then we need our hooks. So we're going to our hooks, and we'll call this use update tag. Yes. Copy that, paste that, save that. Use delete tag. Oop. I also recognized that I haven't really explained this code too much in terms of using AI. Again, I'm not as familiar with, familiar is the wrong word, I'm not as comfortable probably with front end as I am with back end, just because there are some things that I haven't done before or used used a lot, like tan stack query. But at a high level, I'll be able to explain everything that's coming together here. So maybe we do that for this edit tags functionality. Just in case you are watching this and you have never written any code before. Edit tags form already exists, obviously. We're just updating edit tags form. Just in case you are watching this and someone who's trying to learn how to code and write stuff with AI, maybe it helps you out a little bit. So use tags hook. It's not being found. Use tags. So yeah, it's going to be here. So we've got it in this tags one. So get rid of this. What doesn't it like? Use tags from why doesn't it like that? Export. I think because we're exporting it that way, whereas if you export it direct, it should be okay. Maybe? No? Okay, auto tag complete. What? Default. Okay, tags, there we go. Alright, so we can't reorder them, we know that. Let's call this marketing. Save. Wow, why did it do that? I wonder if it's alphabetical. Yeah, okay. Bit annoying. Let's try this. Green, that updated pretty quickly. Let's delete this tag. Yep. Let's go back to our dashboard. Let's create another note. Tags node. We'll just create a bunch of tags. We'll call this computers. We'll call this, oh no, not folders. Computers. TV screens. Laptops. Monitors. Chairs. I'm just looking at stuff around me. Books. Alright. Again, tags updating, but there we go. Settings, tags. So yeah, I just wanted, yeah, so it's all in alphabetical order. It's a bit annoying how when you like rename something, how it puts it in alphabetical order. I don't know, is that an issue? I guess not, because it's easy to find. It's just unexpected, but that works. Obviously, you know, this is massively too wide, but in terms of functionality, it's working, and that was the purpose of this video. So what we're going to do is, let's just look at this component. So we've got our settings page, and then the active menu, we have a switch statement, which basically renders each of these different items. So if we use the edit tags form as an example, edit tags form, what we've got here is we're pulling in our data, which uses use tags. So use tags, for this we're using 10 stack query so that we can have a query key of tags. And basically that allows us, when we edit or add a tag, if we invalidate this query, it basically refetches the tags. So fetch tags is this function here, and we use our API client.get, and we get the endpoints for tags get all, and we can pass in parameters as part of the search, but we're not doing that in this particular instance. And then that is in our endpoints file. So endpoints, this is where we just define it. So sorry, get all. So our API base, which is in this case localhost, tags get all tags, which calls out obviously our backend, which we've seen before. And then if we come back here, let's follow that functionality. So we're just using state to set what tags we're currently seeing. Then tag to delete and tag name, update tag, delete tag. So we've got our use effect. It's basically rendering the data. Handle name change, handle name save. So just doing that separately, which is quite interesting. Set edited tag names. So yeah, like again, this is kind of, I know what it's doing, but I can't really explain in layman's terms what it's doing. So it's getting the previous state and then updating the new state with the updated name. Trying to think of how to explain why it's .prev. I can't really think of a good way of explaining that now. So there's our color change. It's handle delete. So they're all the functions basically. We've got our individual tag item, which is that separate component where we pass in the key, which is the tag ID, and then tag, we pass in the whole tag. So that's all of the data associated with tags, so tag name, tag color, etc. And that's where a lot of the magical, well, not magic, but that's where we show where and how those values are defined, like where that name, tag name is going to show up in that tag item component. This is the dialog for if we want to delete it. So we've got our warning message, and then all of the buttons basically call all of the functions. So this button calls the delete, handle delete, which is up here. We saw that before. I'm probably doing a bad job of this, but you kind of get the idea. And then in tag item, as I said, we basically we bring in the whole tag, and then where is it going to be? Like there's tag.name, and then tag.id we need to pass into on name save, so it's got the ID. There's tag.color. So yeah, anything that was on tag we could render here if there was more fields. So I hope that helps if you're brand new to this. Again, no expert really when it comes to TanStack, and not as good as explaining what's happening on the front end, but hey, I tried, and we now have that functionality working, which is really the whole purpose of this video. So if we come over to our Miro board, we've now got the ability to do all of these things. Change settings overlay, so we've done all of that. I think the last thing that we had to do was if we've got settings overlay here, we can actually delete this now. And that might break things because there might be an import somewhere that's like, hey, we don't now have settings. Yeah, so it's going to have an issue somewhere. Filter sidebar. Yeah, so if we go in filter sidebar, settings, overlay. There we go. Alright, we've got a bunch of console locks still that we need to fix, but we can do that later on. Let's cd back into the parent, and then we'll go git add, git commit -m, add created settings page on front end and ability to edit and delete folders and tags. Alright, that is another piece of functionality done. Thanks for watching. In the next video we will carry on with probably editing existing notes and deleting existing notes. Yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.